Hey, this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, so when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title of this video. It is your husband's job to turn you out. We gotta talk about this. You know, I'm always perusing these YouTube streets and I just happened to be on a particular infamous YouTuber's chat, and she was saying how it's important to not lose touch with your sexual side because we are created to be sexual beings. And if you are somebody who is abstaining, you are going to end up becoming asexual. And you know, I don't know how true that is. The church really needs to do better at not making sex something that is taboo. Okay? It's something that the church has to really work on to make sure people understand that yes, you are a being that was created to multiply, therefore you're going to have certain drives, but it's not a bad thing to want to enjoy a healthy life in that aspect. Now, the reason why, and this is why I can't deal with a lot of female YouTubers and dating coaches and relationship people, especially if they mix spirituality with Christianity. You know, at least a person who's out of in the world, they're speaking more from a scientific standpoint, or they're speaking from a psychological standpoint. Whereas a person who kind of goes down the spiritual route, they fluctuate in and out of the Bible, and sometimes they try to go against the Bible, and then the next minute they're referring to it, and that really winds me up. All right, I'm not the best Christian, but stick with one set of ideas. Okay, we know about soul ties, we know about the ability to pair bond, we understand the concept of oxytocin, which is called the love hormone or the bonding hormone. When a woman has sex, there is a massive spike in this chemical, and that is it facilitates the ability for the female to bond with the person who's caused the stimulation. There's also a massive surge of oxytocin when a child is born, which enables the mother to bond to her baby. Okay, so the more that you have relations with different people, you get emotionally invested and connected, and then you break that bond. It's kind of like a drug addiction. It's not just oxytocin. There are a number of chemicals that are released when people engage in sexual activity. But just like any high, over time, as you become more addicted, you have to go to more extremes to acquire the same level of high that you did when you first started taking whatever drug it was. I think there was a movie or a song called Love and Other Drugs, because obviously when you are in love, you actually feel a bit high. And so if you keep getting into relationships, forming bonds with people, bonding sexually, and then you break that bond, it's like your overall physiology is not affected in the same way, because it's kind of like sticking a piece of sellotape or sticky tape or a plaster. Every time you stick it down and rip it off, the impact of the stickiness is obviously a bit less. The ability to stick weakens every time you do that. Now, I support the idea of people being abstinent or people being celibate, and if you're obviously a virgin, waiting until marriage, because as women we have a tendency to get bored. You know, the 7-year itch is a real thing, because it's very normal for women to get tired of the day-to-day routine. You know, as women, we often find monotony quite challenging, and being a wife is going to be something that is going to be quite repetitive, especially because not all men are about excitement. A lot of them, they just want to go to work, come home, they want to chill, they have their routine, and that's it. So I know I said in previous videos, it's important for a woman to have female friends or good Christian friends if you're a Christian, or close connections, especially with other married women who are going to encourage you and support you in your marriage. That way you can have a range of emotional needs met, but it's not the sole responsibility of your husband to make those needs to be met. Because if he's been at work all day, he just doesn't have the energy, he doesn't have the time, and maybe, he's not your girlfriend. The things that you enjoy talking about and find interesting, he may not. And it's like, that's the last thing he wants when he comes home, to hear about gossip and, what celebrities are doing, if that's your thing, or a show that you watched on TV or something. That's not what he's going to be interested in. And I'm not saying that he should never listen to what you're interested in, but after he's had a long day at work, he just wants to chill in peace, and that's not it for him. Women are naturally more outwardly communicative. Let me say that. Men like to communicate, but they enjoy being listened to, okay? Whereas women, they like to talk. Men like to talk in a way where they're sharing information, maybe they're teaching. Women like to talk to empathize with emotions and feelings and to relate. A man is communicating to transfer information. A woman is communicating to transfer a feeling. So as a result, that's where the disconnect comes in between men and women when they talk about, I wish you would talk more. What the woman is really saying, I want you to express your feelings more, or tell me what you think in terms of your feelings. Whereas he's saying, I don't care about your feelings per se, but it's not about feeling, it's about facts. Give me the numbers, give me the data, and then we can go from there. It's a difference of understanding how women and men communicate. Okay? So it's important for women to understand that there's differences between men and women, and for you to feel whole, you have to have a social circle, because women love social interaction and sharing of feelings and ideas and relating for the sake of having an experience more than men do. And if you're trying to put that responsibility on your husband, it's going to wear him out, okay? Now, putting that aside, okay, when you keep getting emotionally invested in people and you make that bond and break it, over time, the ability to pair bond can be diminished. And the reason why I say to women that it's good if you abstain is because, to me, abstaining can almost reset your mind. I know a lot of people make a mockery and say, oh, people try to be born again virgins. But I say don't listen to any of those people, because if you continue on that path of promiscuity, making of bonds and breaking it with different guys, it's only going to whittle away your sense of self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-respect. And that's obviously a vicious cycle. The more you engage in a behavior that makes you feel ashamed or disappointed in yourself, the more you're more likely to try to self-medicate with that thing. And then you get on that roller coaster. So don't listen to anybody saying that garbage, okay? Now, this YouTuber, she was like, oh, you may say you're celibate and you're abstaining, but it's just because you haven't met the right person yet. And that's true. There's a lot of people who will say, like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not taking this, I'm not drinking, I'm not watching this anymore. And then, it's so easy to fall off the wagon. I was talking recently about how people sabotage you with food. And it's like, they might say, well, just have a little taste. But if you're trying to adhere to a diet, maybe discipline is your weakness, it only takes a little bit in order for you to get, fall off that wagon. And, to bring scripture into it, seeing this is partly to do with scripture, the scripture says flee sexual immorality. There's no chance you can bargain with it all the time, because at the end of the day, at the core of a human being is the desire to be intimate and to reproduce. With social creatures. So if you get into that situation, there's no point to try to bargain your way out, because it's like, can a man take fire in his clothes, in his bosom, and not be burned? You're trying to play with that fire, and sometimes it's better to just leave it, okay? So because of this situation, because of what can happen, when you are careless with your heart in this way, if you like. Okay, it's important for women to understand it's the goal of the husband to actually train you to be what he likes, and also you to tell him what you like. And that's the fun of the bonding process, because remember I said earlier, women get bored trying new things. Obviously, if you're a virgin and you start having sex, you're not going to be full porn star. Well, you're more likely to not be. Maybe you will be in this day and age, because I mean everybody's kind of having it forced upon them. But for the most part, most people are not going to be that adventurous or that confident. So as you grow within each other's arms, as you build that trust through that vulnerability, that's how you gradually get turned out by your man. And that's how he is going to make you into the kind of partner who knows just what he likes. And that's what makes the bond between you special. So when somebody's saying to you, don't let anybody tell you that you can, and this is what really wound me up, talking about how if you are not being sexual, you can become asexual. Now, I think that that's true, but I think that's more true it can be true for the ultra religious, but I think it's also true for women who are of certain age. They've been single for a long time, maybe they've given up on the idea of love. Who knows if they're asexual by choice, So it's like, it's a thing where as women get older, they become more set in their ways. They become used to life as it currently is. And obviously that includes the absence of a partner. So I don't agree that it's like, the person becomes asexual. I think the person just becomes used to being alone. And I'm not going to tell anybody that if you don't have sex or if you don't pleasure yourself, that you're suddenly going to lose your libido. That wouldn't happen to somebody who'd never done it before, but it can happen when you have the wrong mentality towards actually being active. It's not so much that you should be thinking it's dirty and it's bad and it's sinful. You need to focus on the fact that this is something special. I need to preserve my physical, my mental and my spiritual health. And this is going to be a great gift. I can't wait. If that was the expectation and the anticipation that a lot of people who are abstaining had, I think it actually would help more people to abstain, because it's kind of like the more you say to somebody, do not do something, the more they feel the desire to do it. But when you say to somebody, you can do it, but here's the reward if you wait, more people are going to be like, okay, I really want to, but actually you're not worth it. When I do the cost benefit calculation, the costs far outweigh the benefits. So it's like, all right, I really like you, I'm really attracted to you, but you know what? I'll just leave it, yeah, thanks. Now you're empowered. You're empowered and you're in self-control mode. You have command of your body. You're not desperate. You're not getting into relationships because you feel like I have to. And now when you get into that relationship, when you meet that person who this person really deserves it, you don't have that mental blockage of, this is a bad thing I'm doing and therefore I'm switched off. I would never say to somebody, get into the habit of, relieving yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're using that as a constant coping mechanism, you're just substituting one problem with another. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.